Greetings from Seoul, Korea, and welcome to the GSL. I am Tasteless, and with me is Artosis. We have some very exciting games coming up here in just a little bit.
We do. We have Code A followed by Code S, and that spells as, but is that as excited as I am? I don't know, Tasteless.
Wow. Thank you, Artosis,
That just
for that.
flowed out of me. I didn't plan that ahead of
How
time.
do you do it?
I don't
Do you pitch your pants on one leg at a time like every other man, Artosis, or are you a superhuman?
I jump into them like a jump rope. Yeah.
This is Code A. This is the lower level below Code S. These players here today are competing to get into Code S. Code S, of course, the highest rank as far as you can get as StarCraft players. Those guys in Code S, of course, competing for a lot of money and a lot of notoriety. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see who's going to get farther and farther today in Code A. We're still in the group phases. It's 4 players in a group. Basically, 2 go on, 2 don't go on. And that's really sad. But
Very true.
yes. But we're in Code A. What am I saying? So Code A is 2 best of 3s. It's bracket style.
Yeah.
We've actually commentated so much this week. I was still in Code
There's
S.
a lot to
there.
go as well, Tasteless.
Yes, there is. Yes.
Solid 7 days in a row of commentating for you and I. That's 7 days in a row of StarCraft commentary for you guys. So
Yeah,
I guess
man.
it's good for some of us.
You got your week cut out for you. This is going to be awesome for you guys. By the way, thanks to our sponsors at Sony Ericsson. Without Sony Ericsson, this would not be possible. Thank you, viewers, for tuning in. We love StarCraft, and we love you guys. Thank you so much again for joining us. And please spread the word about our premium package. If you can't watch this live, well, you might not be here right now. But if you know somebody who can't watch this live, please tell them to get that package so that they can, check that out. It's only it's about $10, and that money goes to improve the stream. Let's take a look at yesterday's matches.
We had Rex Sandark not play. He withdrew, and TSL Live will advance to the round of 16. But then we had ST8 against OGS Top, and that was actually a pretty darn good match. OGS Top came out on top at the end of that match, and I do recommend that. As far as Code A goes, that was quite a nice set. So let's take a look at today's Code A matches. First match, we have SC GgoBooGie. That is Squirtle.
Squirtle.
That's a Korean word for Squirtle, I guess, GgoBooGie. And Squirtle will be going up against Terius FOU. And then we have JSL Zenith, the Pro Killer, going up against SC FOU. So we have a lot of really great players today. This is a very set Code A group. I think at least 1 or 2 of these guys could have been Code S quite easily.
Oh, yeah. We also have 2 FOUs today, not playing against each other, but playing against the other 2 individuals in this. So the FOU coach is down here today. He looked a little bit nervous. Maybe I'm misreading him, but he did look a little bit tense. And he really wants to see his players make it through here, get as far as they can in Code A, hopefully get to Code S. We're going to see if it happens, Artosis.
We are going to see that, Tasteless. I think they have reasonable shots. The FOU team, they are great players. But this first match, Squirtle against Terius, kind of feeling it for Squirtle.
Squirtle is a good player, a good Pokemon, and it's going to be interesting to see if Terius could take him on. Terius, I don't believe he's the best in FOU.
No.
But FOU is a pretty damn good team, so with that in mind, you never know what to expect. FOU actually has a lot of history behind it because it was a StarCraft 1 team.
Yeah.
And now here it is in StarCraft 2. Early on in this tournament, for Season 3, which was last month, I know you and I were both saying early on, it'll be interesting to see.
Only FOUs left?
Yeah, exactly.
So many of them made it to the round of 16,
And
but
early on, we didn't
that's
think
where
any
they
of them were
fell.
going to get that far.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden, they just started killing everybody. So they got a lot of potential. Let's take a look at our players now. And here is Squirtle. It says GgoBooGie, but apparently that's Korean for Squirtle.
That it is. In Season 3, that's the only season we got to see him. He got to the round of 16. Showed some impressive games there. Took out Rots, who is now in Slayer's team, in the round of 64. And then he took out Golden FOU, who is now known as Slayer's Golden, 2-0. So it looks like Slayer's Boxer is just picking up people that Squirtle kills. I don't know. Boxer must be a fan of fire types, Tasteless.
That's very That could be the case, Artosis.
And also, Squirtle lost 1-2 against TSL Rain, who actually got second place last season. So
Yeah, there's no shame in losing a Rain.
no, and it was SCV all in. So
Yeah.
the guy is actually quite legit.
Over here is Terius Foyu, a Zerg player. He only made an appearance in Season 2, did manage to get to the round of 32.
Yeah, he took out Pult Prime in that first round, who is a Code S player, so that's pretty good. And then he went against Loner, and Loner showed us that, hey, you can lose all your SCVs and still out macro your opponent
Yeah.
if you're
actually,
Loner. So,
Loner, no shame in losing to Loner.
absolutely not. Great player.
Loner barely lost to Slayer's Boxer, who, by the way, was sick yesterday.
Yeah,
he
Slayer's
was
Boxer.
so good.
Yeah,
he was
go back and
actually,
watch those VODs.
actually out of control. I'll give you a hint. Orbitals. Just check out that Terran vs. Terran with Hyperdub and Slayer's Boxer playing it out. I think it's going to be pretty... I think you'll be pretty impressed.
Yeah.
I
It was
was.
pretty impressive.
I was.
Yeah. It's a good game.
It was. It was a great game. I think that was one of the first games that was so jaw-dropping, that was so revolutionary. That and maybe TLO's game with the nukes, where we were seeing an ability in StarCraft, a unit in StarCraft used in such a way that was just mind-blowing. But enough about that. Let's go on to the maps for this matchup today.
All right, we're going to have Blistering Sands, followed by Metalopolis, and finishing up with Lost Temple. GgoBooGie took out Scrap Station. That's Squirtle, of course. Terius took out Delta Quadrant. And, well, as far as PvZ goes, this is actually a pretty good set. Squirtle, his one hard map here is going to be Blistering Sands. The other two are just really decent maps for Protoss versus Zerg. I think Lost Temple, some Zergs are getting really good at that map. There's some funny plays you can do with Nidus Worms on islands and stuff.
Metalopolis, of course, pretty balanced.
Yeah, that's just going to be
in general.
straight up. But Blistering, that can be pretty hard for PvZ at times. A lot of these Korean Zergs like to get really aggressive, knock down those rocks pretty quickly, and then they just try to get you out of position. And, I mean, if you're out of position, like protect... Oop, I'll get into that in a minute. Game
The
start.
countdown's begun. Let's go. And it looks like we've almost started this game here.
I'm still loading.
Artosis' computer's still loading. You have like 1% left. Come on, Artosis. You can do this. All right. In the red, our Protoss player, named after a Pokemon. GgoBooGie meaning Squirtle. He is. There's a shot of him now. And over here, representing Foyu, his name rhymes with nefarious.
Terius for you.
There's a shot of him now, looking very focused.
All right. His name does rhyme with nefarious.
There's not much else. Actually, I believe the proper pronunciation of that, though, is nefarious. But I can't think of anything else that rhymes with Terius.
Yeah. Well, Terius isn't a real word.
That is that hilarious.
Ooh, you got one.
I got one.
Well, actually, then you can put any...
Aquarius.
Yeah, there's a ton of words now if you want to do it that way. That's like the
Took
cheap
me a
way.
minute. I came in late. Now, note this is a scouting probe after Pylon, not after Gateway. He did not elect to go down there and block the fast hatchery.
Yep.
I question that decision, but let's see how this game goes.
He does have a little bit more time. If you scout after Pylon, they won't have enough for hatchery quite at the time when you get there.
Oh, excuse me.
So I had enough time to check that main base out, go back down. The drone is waiting.
Now, what's your take on sending the drone down there that early? Was he trying to fake a fast hatch because he sees already getting a pool?
I think the reasoning behind it may have been just in case his opponent wanted to pylon block the bottom of his ramp and throw up a cannon.
That's
You've got to
interesting.
be very scared of that.
I almost feel like on all maps though that would be like the worst strategy.
Yeah, this is
Because you just have the rocks, you just break the rocks down.
it's true. Out of all the maps, this one and I would say Scrap Station are both
Yeah.
quite quite the worse for it, but still, there's...
I guess you're right, though. That
it
probably was
messes
his
up your
reasoning
game
behind
plan, so you don't want it to happen anyways.
You know, the Protoss is positioning here, making somewhat of a wall in. That way, it's hard to stream a bunch of Zerglings up the ramp.
Yep, always want to go ahead and do that. And we'll see a second gas taken by our Protoss player pretty quickly. There it is. And, well, that second gas already gives us some information. Tells us he's not going to do the Zealot Stalker all-in off of 4 warp gates.
Here we see the Lings coming out now. If you guys are new to StarCraft at home, you see this pylon here. You're saying, why on earth would he make a pylon there? Didn't he lose money? He's going to lose supply. Why would he do that? The amount of money the Zerg loses by not having a hatchery at this location and getting those extra resources is far more than the cost of making a pylon and losing it.
Yeah, and it's not just that. It's also production. It's also...
Oh, yeah, true.
Yeah, you
additional
get less
queen,
larvae that way. Yeah, you get less queens. It's just very, very annoying. You get less creep as well. Takes longer for your creep to get out there. So we do see Terius just sending some Zerglings around. He's going to take the watchtowers and scout everywhere on the map. He doesn't want anything hidden from him. And a probe is going to get caught by a Zergling, so good job there. Zergling sees that probe.
Yeah,
probe runs from Zergling.
If you're Zerg, you never want to have any stray probes on the map.
Yeah, they hide pylons for warp-in rushes. They sometimes hide other tech.
Any good Protoss will always hide a probe on the map.
Yeah.
You got to get that additional intel.
Ooh, we have a Stargate build for our Protoss player. He's going to go ahead and see there. That's a Stargate right there. And interesting. He's going to go ahead and do one base Stargate with 2 warp gates. And I'm interested to see, is he going to go Void Ray or is he going to go for Phoenixes? And it's going to be a Void Ray. All right.
Very interesting.
Void Ray builds are reasonably popular on this map.
Yeah, you got to be careful when you do a Void Ray build because if you get behind when you start out with a Void Ray build one base, it's very difficult to recover from. Also note, this is a pretty open map. There are not a lot of locations you can go to hide from an attacker with a Void Ray, so if you screw up with a Void Ray, you're probably going to lose it.
Yeah, very true. And as you were saying, Tasis, if you mess up with this build, it's so hard to get back from because the Void Ray isn't overly useful in the mid-game, just like a single Void Ray. You scout with it some now, kill some Overlords as we see him doing here. And, well, once they counter that Void Ray, it's going to be good for defending, obviously, any sort of Roach attacks, but when the Hydras get out, not very useful.
Roach Warren on the way, second gas on the way, layer on the way. Queens are usually what you want to use to combat Void Rays. Never want to get an Evolution Chamber and get the Spore Crawlers. Now, it looks like with this build, the Protoss is going to go ahead and expand, so the Void Ray is basically going to force the Protoss, the Zerg rather, to spend most of his time and attention and money into dealing with this one Void Ray while the Protoss focuses on economy. In the early games, a little bit after the beta, actually, right after the game came out, basically, Void Ray rushes against Zerg were quite popular, but they've sort of gone out of style, but that part of the metagame is still sort of stuck in many Zerg players' minds.
Yeah.
Oh, he's doing the Void Ray build, and in that build, you continue to get Void Rays and try to take them out, but in this case, he's going to try to throw them off a little bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised Terius left that Overlord on the side of his base. As soon as you see a Void Ray as Zerg, you pull in Overlords. You send them to positions where the Void Ray isn't going to be able to get free kills. So a little bit of a mistake there by Terius. But he is getting his Hydralisk Den up, so should be all right. Now,
a wise decision. Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead, Artosis.
I was going to say he is getting that double gas at his expansion.
Yeah.
And the thing he's going to want to do when you actually open up with any sort of Stargate build as Protoss, normally you'll transition directly into Colossus, oftentimes to Robotics Bay Colossus. Just as soon as you think you're safe from any attacks, if you transition into that, you force Hydras, and as soon as you force Hydras, the Colossus becomes worth its weight in... Well, it was worth its weight in gold before, but now even more so.
I love the positioning of the Void Ray right outside the Zerg's base, because he's going to spot any Lings that might be trying to sneak out, any drones.
Yep. But he's going to fly into some Hydras!
I can't believe he just stepped forward. Hydras are so slow off creep.
Ouch.
He could have That was pretty bad.
That was
right when I complimented him on that being good, he moved it towards the Zerg's expansion. Now, the way I would handle this if I were Zerg is to try to take down the rocks, the golden expand again, but I would have done that a little while ago. Looks like the Zerg is going to focus on 2-basing for the time being.
Yep, the Zerg, well, he's just making a lot of Hydras right now and getting his Roach speed, so he may try some sort of timing attack, or he may just be like, okay, I'm not exactly sure what's coming, but I want to get a decent amount of units up before taking my next base. He is getting Burrow.
Yeah.
Interesting. So he may be trying to go and actually break down those rocks and do a real attack. When your opponent doesn't have Burrow, you can actually just rally Roaches into gateway units on 2-base versus 2-base, and eventually you can break through them. But already that robotics is up, so he can get an observer out if need be.
I gotta say, I like Squirtle's position a lot more than I like Terius' position.
Yeah.
I mean, basically Terius is banking on what looks, and I think you're totally right, a 2-base timing attack, where I think Squirtle is just playing it safe.
Yeah, but here's the thing, those rocks, they're going to be broken down. There's no pylon even over there to spot, so that's so dangerous. Out comes this little tiny army, and he's going to have to use up a lot of force fields here. And that he does.
Oh, not actually the best force fields out there.
No.
The Lings actually doing a ton of damage there. Even warping in units in the wrong location, warping them in where they can be hit before they're even finished being warped in. You can see he's trying to get a Colossus out. And I don't know if this is going to work. Nice force fields there.
He just has to keep on using so many force fields. He's lost a lot of his sentries now, and that's just exactly what you do not want to do. That was actually a very dangerous move for him to move out right there. Should have known there was more out on the map.
The Colossus is out, but it's not exactly in a good position. He does back it up. Nice micro there.
Thermal Lance does finish.
Zerg needs to back up. Got to be careful there. The Colossus can step on force fields.
You know, right now,
them out.
Yeah, Terius right now has a good amount of supply more. He's 117 to 87, so his army is going to be very fierce for a little bit. But as the Colossus count grows, it's going to become more and more scary for Terius. But Terius looks like he's going to have a mobility advantage here. He has broken down the rocks finally, and he is moving into the main base of Squirtle.
This could be bad. Remember the position of the buildings early on at the ramp, but that's going to make it tough for all these Protoss units to get up there and engage as easily.
And looks like he wanted to go over the ramp and catch things coming up into a little choke point, into a funnel. Did not do so, has to run out of there. Retreats those Hydras in a timely manner because they are slow, and otherwise they are not getting out.
As you can see, the Roaches and the Hydras backing up now. I do like how our Zerg player got Overlord speed and is just dropping creep right outside, the Protoss player's base. I'd like to say Zerg has been doing a pretty bad job of expanding creep tubers.
Yeah, he definitely has. I mean, especially when you're doing a rally attack like this, you're going to want to expand it quicker. Now we see a very nice burrow. Pops it up, though.
A lot of potholes over there. Don't drive through there.
We do see that in the production tab, 7 Corruptors are being made. So he's going to have a lot of Corruptors out to help deal with these Colossus. But it's mostly a Stalker army for Squirtle, so, it's still going to be pretty even. The thing is, they're both still sitting on just 2 base. No one's tried to take a 3rd base yet. And the Protoss supply is catching up to the Zerg supply. And as they do hit similar numbers, the Protoss army becomes much more effective.
I don't know if the Zerg can last if he doesn't take out all the Colossus. Basically, in this phase of the game, you have to kill off all the Colossus because that's going to reset how many they have. They can only make one at a time. They can only increment them out, which means the Zerg is basically going to have to succeed in this attack here.
Very nice Guardian Shields, very nice Force Fields, and he is starting to tear down some Roaches, but the Roaches are coming through while those Corruptors hit the Colossus quite a bit. And
the Zerg's got this, I do believe.
It does look pretty good. He's at least getting the Colossus down, which is the main important part, and he kills off all the Colossus. More and more Roaches funneling in, and Squirtle with a big mistake walking out and actually engaging in that wide open area.
There was no reason for him to move out. He should have skipped You can see there's an observer flying around over the Stalkers. He should just use that and try to look for when is the Zerg going to try to expand.
Yes.
Wait until the hatchery is maybe halfway done and move out.
Well, it definitely was a mistake, Tasteless. You're quite right on that. I mean, why would you go and actually attack right now when the third base is actually this late?
Yeah.
There is just no reason to actually get out there and attack. You've had 2 base for almost as long as the Zerg. Your spy is closing up. If he's taking a third that late, you can literally sit there and max out.
Exactly.
And when you sit there and max out, suddenly he's like, well, I'm just droning now, and oh no, I'm in trouble.
Oh, nice move. I think Zerg might actually counterattack. That'll force the Protoss to turn around. Then he can dart back. There you go.
And he's going to go ahead and attack right into this.
And you see, because he lost all the Colossus, now the Corruptor count is too high. He can only make them one at a time. He's actually switched to Immortals, which is probably not a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it looks like there's just too many Zerg units.
Thing is, if he wants to switch over to Immortals, he needs to have more than 1 robotics. But, I mean, the game at this point already over. Terius just has to go ahead and kill him now. He's killed so many of these high-tech units, and Squirrel has no economy. GG. Terius takes game number 1.
You have captured a Squirtle. What is it you said in Season 2? Squirtle has fainted.
Yeah. Well, that he has, Tasteless. Really a big mistake by Squirrel moving out, though.
I think actually his first big mistake was the first time he moved out when the rocks were a little bit under pressure. Terrible force fields, lost the bulk of his ground army. Then the second time he made the mistake was when he was in the middle of the map again.
Yeah,
warping stuff in there and lost the
you have to read the Zerg player better. When you read the Zerg player being hyper aggressive, knocking down your rocks, over making units early, this means he's not making drones, he's not expanding well, and all you have to do is defend. But for some reason you decide, I need to get out there and have a battle. It's like, no, man, slow it down a little bit, all right, dude? Just sit there, make your units, max out. You can max on 2 bases when Zerg is sitting on 2 bases.
Zerg was on 2, yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. 2 base versus 2 base.
Zerg's expanding that you can't
want to be on 2 base if the Zerg's against 2 base.
Absolutely.
Zerg expands so late.
Keep the same number of bases as him.
Obviously,
That's cool.
Zerg doesn't have a ton of drones if he's been on 2 base for that long. So, yeah, it was just a premature attack.
Yeah.
He had a little bit of time.
Definitely did. If you actually walk out with a maxed army against a 2-base Zerg maxed army, the Zerg is actually just like, oh.
Looks like the countdown's begun, so get ready. Let's see if our Protoss player can come back.